Hello, welcome. Happy Christmas Eve. Welcome to a fresh new hour of CBS Sports HQ alongside Chris Honorado. I'm Katie Mox. Welcome to Florida. Happy Christmas.
And you look ready for Christmas.
I am.
I wear it year round, so I try to avoid a lot of green and red, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know what? You just bring the Christmas cheer all year long, and I like that. We got plenty of holiday football to break down, bold takes to unwrap, and everything that you need to get set for Christmas Day football in the NFL. Let's get right to it. Christmas Day in the NFL isn't about presents under the tree. It's about pride, pressure, and a whole lot of truth serum. You got the Cowboys and the Commanders. It's a pure NFC East energy there. No playoff math, just rivalries. And you got the Vikings and the Lions. Detroit's gut check on this one. 2 straight losses, a bruised ego, and a chance to flip that holiday narrative. And then the Broncos and the Chiefs, well, that seeding, survival, and maybe a little sentiment. 3 games, 3 very different motivations, and every team asking Santa for a little something different this year. And speaking of Christmas wishes, I sure got mine. Let's bring in Tyler Sullivan and Will Brinson. Good to see my 2 favorite elves here. Guys, forget the naughty or nice list. For each team playing tomorrow, what are they going to actually be asking for Christmas? We're going to start with the Commanders. Sully, after a season that has completely collapsed from NFC title hopes to a 4-11 mess, what are the Commanders actually asking Santa for this year? Is it stability? Is it a roster reset? Or is it just proof that this rebuild isn't broken?
It is a healthy Jaden Daniels under the Christmas tree, because it is the reason why it's gone awry this season for Washington is because their franchise quarterback hasn't been able to get on the field. I mean, we're talking about a knee injury, a hamstring injury, a dislocated elbow, a re-aggravation of the dislocated elbow. It just feels like Jaden Daniels hasn't been healthy at all this season, and it's a bummer. Obviously, we're not going to see him on Christmas, but if we zoom out a little bit and we look at the landscape of the NFL right now, one of the big stories is the fact that Caleb Williams has the Chicago Bears on the precipice of winning the NFC North in the number 2 seed in the conference. Drake May is in the MVP conversation. The Patriots are the number 2 seed. Bo Nix has the Broncos on the verge of the number 1 seed. All these second-year quarterbacks are really thriving, and the guy that was the most successful a year ago in Jaden Daniels hasn't been able to get on the field. I mean, this is a guy that took the Commanders to the NFC Championship a year ago. The fact that we don't have him in this conversation with all these year 2 quarterbacks is just a bummer.
A huge bummer, and yes, I think Commanders fans would certainly like him wrapped under the Christmas tree. On the other side, Brinson, Cowboys wasted another strong Dak year and are home again for January. So what are they going to be asking Santa for? Is it a real defense, real accountability from the top, or something finally changing with this run-it-back cycle in Dallas?
How about a general manager not named Jerry Jones? I mean, in 1996, the last year that the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, Jerry famously made a Faustian deal with the devil where he said, just give me this title and I won't ask for another one ever again. Little short-sighted there, Jerry. You've been doing this for 20-plus years. I think with the Cowboys, though, we talk about how great Dak Prescott has been this season, and he has been great. CeeDee Lamb has been awesome. And look, Jerry went out and got George Pickens, and that was a great move by the Cowboys. It looks like a cheap deal there, but they're going to have to pay him as well. Take all this back, though, Katie, and think about how long it took to pay Dak Prescott, even though he's clearly the guy in Dallas and they wanted him. How long it took to pay CeeDee Lamb, which all of these things combined result in less money, which doesn't allow you to pay Micah Parsons, which means you have to trade Micah Parsons before the season, which leads to the most points allowed in Cowboys history, 3rd most ever, I guess. They're going to get there in 18 games, right? I mean, the defense is going to get there. It's been a horrendous defense. Brian Schottenheimer's been a great coach. Dak's been awesome. Everything else is good. But Jerry Jones just can't help himself, and that's why they're stuck in this predicament.
I'll tell you what, the second I stopped trusting Jerry Jones, not that he ever fully had my trust, is with that Hard Knocks when I saw him put salt on a McGriddle. Like, that was just the end of it for me and Jerry Jones. But on to the NFC North we go. The Lions were supposed to bully the NFC this year, but a shaky second half cost them real 1 seed and contender juice. So, Sully, what is Detroit's Christmas wish? Is it a defense that actually levels up, or proof that this core can dominate when it matters most?
To me, it's an offensive coordinator. I mean, we're talking about the Chicago Bears now taking control of the NFC North. It's because that dude, Ben Johnson, he's running the show, and he used to run the show, the offense for the Detroit Lions. John Morton, the new OC, just hasn't really cut it. Dan Campbell has taken over play calling duties this season, and I think that Dan Campbell is best as a head coach when he's in that CEO role. When he has to come down and essentially be a play caller on either side of the ball, I don't think that does the Detroit Lions really anything beneficial this season. So they need to go in and find that next Ben Johnson. I don't think John Morton's going to be the guy. I think they need to find a new offensive coordinator that can really lead that side of the ball and have Dan Campbell then assume that CEO role of the entire organization. And you might look at me a little crooked and say, well, Tyler, they are number 2 in the NFL in scoring. They're number 3 in the NFL in yards per game on offense. But watch the Detroit Lions of 2025. Watch the Detroit Lions in previous years. It's a totally different offense.
Well, that is the elusive gift that kids all want but can't really get, is another Ben Johnson for an OC coordinator, offensive coordinator, excuse me. Brinson, the Vikings spent the year searching for answers at quarterback and somehow found none. So what are they asking for from old St. Nick? Is it a real quarterback plan, or do they just want Sam Darnold back under the tree to pretend like this whole year never happened?
Yeah, I guess I can't remember. We were planning or watched Back to the Future last night, but I mean, I think they need a DeLorean so that way they can travel back in time and franchise tag Sam Darnold. Remember, this team was playing the Lions in the final week of the season for the number 1 seed last year. I mean, like, how far have we come that these two teams are now battling it out with very little chances, only for one of them, of course, the Lions, to even make the playoffs. It's crazy. The NFL is a year-to-year league. But I think, and that's part of the problem, you know, Sam Darnold played poorly in that game. He played poorly in the playoffs, and they decided to move on from him and go to J.J. McCarthy, who just, 1, hasn't been healthy very much in his career, and 2, because of that, hasn't really had the chance to develop in this Kevin O'Connell offense, and he still throws way too much of a fastball. It's been to the detriment of Justin Jefferson and his production. So you're kind of wasting one of the best receivers ever, on this rookie deal with J.J. McCarthy, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. I think if they could do it all over again, they would love to have franchise tagged or just signed Sam Darnold to a deal and brought him back for another year and given J.J. McCarthy one more year on the bench to sort of develop, and they'd probably be a playoff team right now.
Yeah, hindsight is always 20/20. Santa's sleigh is now heading to the AFC West. Sully, the Broncos have actually had a great year, 12-3, and right in the hunt for the AFC's top seed here. When they head to the local mall and they sit on the old guy's lap, is it just 2 more wins or home field advantage, wrap with a bow heading into January? What do they need?
Yeah, let's not get cute here. It's the number 1 seed. They want the number 1 seed in the AFC. They go to Arrowhead, obviously, should take care of business against a team that's out of the playoffs on a 3rd-string quarterback. But they want to fast forward through Week 18 as well, and that one is no gimme. Yes, you go back to Mile High, but you host the Los Angeles Chargers. And remember, earlier this season, the Chargers beat the Broncos, rallied on a 10-0 run in the 4th quarter to beat them in that game, and that could get a little hairy there. Again, if you want the number 1 seed, the easiest way to do it is to win out. You start losing one of these final 2 games, you're opening the door more so than what you did last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you're the Denver Broncos, it's simple. 2 more wins under the Christmas tree. You're the number 1 seed. You do not have to get on a plane until you go to Santa Clara for Super Bowl 60. That is the dream for the Denver Broncos.
And my dream would be a Broncos and 49ers Super Bowl, but I don't know if Santa's going to do that one for me. Lastly, Brinson, who's definitely not going to be in Santa Clara, the Chiefs went from dynasty to disaster. Mahomes is hurt, the offense is stale, and the division is gone. So what did Andy Reid do to deserve coal in his stocking this year? Is it roster decisions, play calling, or just tempting the football gods one too many times?
I completely forgot. I didn't even hear a word you were saying, Katie. All I heard in my head was "Let's go Rams." Anyway, I think I joked, in my answer here that they want to give Patrick Mahomes Taylor Swift's ACL. I mean, she's in incredible shape, right? She trains more than a professional athlete. But I do think Patrick Mahomes healthy in 2026 has to be the answer. This is a late season ACL tear. I think he'll probably be fine. He's recovered extremely well from injury in the past. Rarely misses games. There's some of that pliability and flexibility that Tom Brady had late in his career. Just an incredible athlete. So I think he'll be fine. But that is everything for this team, right? I mean, they just got walloped by the Tennessee Titans, who are like one of the worst teams in football without Patrick Mahomes. And I think that says a lot about it. And you see the record, 2-4, score less than 16 points per game without Patrick Mahomes. He has to be healthy and motivated to prove that the Chiefs are a playoff team, are a Super Bowl contender headed into 2026. That it has to be the top priority for this team.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you on Taylor Swift and the ACL. I have been watching her docuseries on Disney, and she is an athlete. There's no two ways around that. But time now, fellas, for Fresh Take, presented by Fresh Take. Healthy food, fresh from the fridge. Christmas Day, 3 games, 3 very different storylines. So let's get your bold take on which team is going to make the biggest statement, or maybe the biggest player is going to make a statement. What do you think, Sully?
I'm going with a player, and I'm going with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he scores at least 2 touchdowns in this game against Minnesota. He is obviously has a nose for the end zone. He's very, in terms of going to the end zone, more than any other player in NFL history over his first 3 seasons. And I go back to the last time the Minnesota Vikings played on Christmas. It was 2020, and the running back was Alvin Kamara. He scored 6 rushing touchdowns in that game, tied an NFL record. I'm not saying Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get 6, but I think he's getting multiple touchdowns, multiple opportunities to get into the end zone. Maybe he flirts with 3. Maybe we get to a point in the game where we're seeing side-by-side graphics of Jahmyr Gibbs and Alvin Kamara from that game a handful of years ago. I think that's what we're going to see on Christmas.
I feel like that was one of those games where it's like an earthquake or a natural disaster. Everybody remembers exactly where they were when Kamara had 6 touchdowns on Christmas. What's your big fresh take here, Brinson?
I was sitting in a chair right there when that happened. And my dad's like, ha, 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 Kamara, I won the fantasy league. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. Screw Alvin Kamara. Look, by the way, Sully, I like that. It was very breachian of you to go with 2 touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs. It's a mere plus 260 if you want to wager on that. I'm going to go a little bit deeper down the list, though. And give me Jamison Williams, J-Mo, to have an explosive. And by the way, we're ripping like no Ben Johnson. We think the Lions are going to score 40 touchdowns here. I'll take J-Mo to score 2 touchdowns, 150 receiving yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown is banged up. The targets have been there since Dan Campbell took over as play caller. Think he is going to feed J-Mo and probably Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions will put up a ton of points, and J-Mo has a monster Christmas Day. All
right, well, here's my fresh take. Buddy the Elf on the other side of your shoulder might be overserved. We want to cut him off here on Christmas Eve.
He's Elfie.exe is hammered.
Thank you so much to Brinson and to Sully. Appreciate you guys. Here's what CBS has going on this week. Steelers at Broncos in the early slate. Seahawks and Panthers, Saints and the Titans. And at 4:05, the Giants are taking on the Raiders. All of these games you can watch locally on CBS or streaming live on Paramount+.